Welcome back to Narrative Nook Cafe. This is part 2 of how I thought I met the perfect guy, but he turned out to be an angel in disguise. We left off when I got the news from the other woman, so I hit up my girls, Tiffany, Bree, Jada in the group chat. Tiffany replied first. Already tense. Go ahead. I told them everything. That Mark had been talking to other women for years, and one of them had reached out to me. Bree said, "Say less. What's his address?" Jada, wait, talking or talking? Me, dating. Tiffany, I been told you. Bree, I do not like that man. I told them how he made these women feel crazy for wanting clarity, how he said God wasn't done with him yet. Jada replied, "Oh, he's one of those." Tiffany texted, "That man ain't confused, he just allergic to accountability." Bree, "He weaponized therapy and church?" "Oh, jail immediately." Then I sent the line that changed the tone. She said he doesn't cheat. He auditions. The chat went quiet. Then Tiffany said, "Yeah, that's the one." Bree texted, "Naomi, hear me clearly. That man is a community project. Hear me out. Maybe the man needs so many women around him because he can't be alone. And maybe he can't be alone because deep down he knows that he's trash and he can't stand himself. If he knows that the real him is trash, then by default, he subconsciously views you and all the other women as trash receptacles. Why do you want someone who doesn't even want himself?" Jada offered, "You're not stupid. You were targeted." I typed back, "I feel calm, and that scares me." Tiffany said, "No, that's clarity. Anger comes later." I sat my phone down and just sat there. Everything suddenly made sense. The delayed plans, the gentle deflections, the way he always sounded wise but never concrete. Mark wasn't protecting peace. He was protecting access. He never lied outright. He curated just enough truth to keep women hopeful. He didn't choose. He sampled. And the wildest part? He genuinely believes he's a good man. Misunderstood, misjudged. He doesn't see manipulation. He sees balance. I decided I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. Men like Mark don't fall from yelling. They fall from exposure. So I watched, listened, collected. That same night, my phone lit up. Mark texted, "I'm grateful for you. God knew what he was doing when he brought you into my life." I stared at the screen, smiled, typed back, "I know. Same tone, same words." But I was already gone. Mark Lewis truly believes he is a good man. Not perfect, but good. Good men don't yell. Good men don't ghost. They pace. Good men don't lie. They protect people from information they're not ready to receive. He's built an entire moral framework around that belief. It's how he sleeps at night. From his perspective, women arrive already cracked, hopeful, tender, looking for reassurance he's more than happy to provide. They see his calm and call it safety. They see his patience and call it maturity. They see his emotional distance and assume depth. Mark never corrects them. Why would he? In his mind, He's offering a premium experience. Presence without chaos, affection without obligation, intimacy without confinement. He calls it balance. What he refuses to examine is how badly he needs it. The admiration, the way women soften around him, the relief of being seen as safe. Because underneath all that calm is a fear he never names. That if he were ever fully known, seen without the filter, he'd be ordinary, replaceable. So he manages perception like a full-time job. And me? I finally clocked out. Mark doesn't think he manipulates women. Mark smiled, complimented me. Manipulation sounds cruel, intentional, malicious. Mark believes he simply responds. In his mind, he meets women where they are. He adjusts to their emotional bandwidth. If a woman wants reassurance, he provides it generously. If she wants space, he offers patience and discipline. And if two women overlap, well, that's just timing. That's how he explains it to himself. Mark decided I was different, accomplished, grounded, put together. I didn't beg for reassurance. I offered stability. That's what drew him to me. That's why he chose me now. In his mind, I entered his life when he was finally ready. It never occurred to him that I might not have agreed to that timing. When I confronted him about the video, I saw irritation flash across his face, quick and hot, then it disappeared. Anger would have looked guilty. Calm reframes everything. He watched me closely as I spoke. My breathing, my shoulders, the slight downturn of my mouth. I could feel him adjusting in real time. That's one of his gifts. I hate that you're feeling unsettled, he said. And I believe he meant it. Not because he'd done anything wrong, but because my discomfort disrupted the peace he works so hard to curate. Mark believes emotions are contagious, and he believes women especially need help regulating them. That's what he thought he was doing, helping. After that conversation, Mark felt satisfied. He'd handled it well. He prayed that night, not for forgiveness, but for confirmation. Thank you, God, for giving me patience. Thank you for helping me lead with grace. He slept easily. What Mark didn't notice was the exact moment I stopped seeking reassurance and started seeking clarity. I didn't confront him again. I didn't accuse. I became observant, quiet, precise. I responded exactly the way he expected. Affectionate, but not needy. Warm, but not probing. Supportive, calm, agreeable. Mark relaxed. Men like Mark always mistake silence for resolution. What he didn't see was my phone lighting up late at night. A group chat created without drama, without emotion, just facts, timelines, screenshots, voice notes saved instead of deleted. Elise was there, then Brianna, then Monique. Each woman thought she was alone. Each one told the same story in different words. I didn't overshare. I didn't need to. I listened, asked questions that sounded harmless. How long did he say he needed? Did he ever explain why he couldn't commit? Did he ever say he wasn't like other men? Every answer fit perfectly. Mark, meanwhile, was thriving. He felt admired again, centered, in control. He complimented my patience, my growth, framed my silence as emotional maturity. This reinforced what he already believed. Women who stay quiet are healed. Women who ask questions are broken. One night, Mark sat alone scrolling through old photos. Different women, different smiles, same posture. The way he always stood, just slightly apart. Close enough to suggest intimacy, distant enough to deny it. He didn't feel guilt. He felt proud. He'd never abandoned anyone. They always left on their own, faded out, grew apart. That distinction matters to him. What Mark never admits, even to himself, is how angry he gets when women talk to each other. He's seen it before. The shift, the sudden awareness, the way stories start aligning. That's when everything collapses. So he works hard to keep worlds separate. Separate texts and routines. Separate promises. Vague enough to never contradict each other. Mark calls this discretion. I called it data. I didn't rush. I understood by then, Mark feeds on urgency, emotion, confrontation. So I starved him. Instead, I built a timeline. Who met him when, what he promised, what he withheld. Patterns rose like scars under bright light. He began to feel something unfamiliar, a subtle loss of control. I didn't lean on him, didn't seek reassurance, didn't ask where things were going. "You've been really strong lately," he said one evening. "I admire that." I smiled. "Thank you." Nothing more. He tried to provoke reassurance, mentioned future plans vaguely, trips, possibilities. One day, I nodded, didn't latch, because I know now that he never actually made plans to do anything other than his plans, to string me along until it was no longer fun for him and he had found the perfect replacement for me, or I became wise to his game. This confused him. What he didn't know was that I'd already dropped his exact phrasing into the group chat, word for word. The responses came fast. "Girl, I heard that one before." "Where does he get money for breadcrumbs? He never paid when we went out." "Oh, you too? He told me he lost his debit card on the way to the date." "At least y'all went on dates. He just takes me to church, then wants to air my toes out after service like he didn't just hear the word." I didn't laugh. I took notes because it was all too familiar. He still believed he was the good guy. That intention outweighs impact. That calm equals innocence. That women are responsible for managing expectations. What narcissism never prepares you for is what happens when the audience stops reacting. When mirrors stop reflecting admiration. When women stop confronting and start comparing. The truth doesn't scream. It coordinates. There's a moment, quiet, blink, and you miss it, when women stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "How many times?" That's when the group chat changed. At first, it wasn't intentional. An anonymous warning. A shared wait. That sounds familiar. A late-night exchange that ended in recognition. 4 women, 1 man. Too many similarities to ignore. What started as emotional processing turned administrative. Less venting, more timestamps, less disbelief, more confirmation. The grief phase passed quietly. No explosions, just that hollow calm you get after a storm that didn't make noise, but still knocked the power out. And then, unexpectedly, we laughed. Because clarity is funny in hindsight. The phrases that once sounded thoughtful now read like copy and paste captions. The delays he framed as wisdom look like scheduling conflicts. The busy weekends lined up with frightening precision. I watched the pattern unfold like a map. Same emotional arc with each woman. Mark never improvised. He recycled. That's where the comedy lives. Not in the pain, but in the predictability. One woman remembered how he always said he wasn't like other men. Another recalled him describing exes as women who misunderstood his intentions. A third mentioned how he praised independence, but punished it quietly. That one landed for me. I remembered the IKEA bookshelf. I'd put it together myself one Saturday. Proud, sweaty, accomplished. Mark smiled, complimented me, said nothing negative. But the next day, no good morning text, no check-in. Dinner plans mysteriously canceled. He didn't yell. He didn't argue. He withdrew. Oh, that was his version of punishment. What landed hardest, what none of us needed to say out loud, was this. He never adapted to the woman. He adapted to her wound. Whatever insecurity she carried, he mirrored just enough healing to stay essential, just enough reassurance to remain necessary. We all saw it at the same time. The group chat evolved. What once felt like group therapy started reading like a writer's room for a long-running character study called A Man Who Thinks He's the Good Guy. I joked silently that if Mark ever wrote a memoir, it would be called I Meant Well. And honestly, that felt worse than bad intentions, because that means he tried, and this is the outcome. That's a sad realization. Because what do you do with a man who is toxic, self-absorbed, emotionally immature, and genuinely believes he's doing his best? Nothing. That's when I heard my grandmother's voice clear as day. Just because someone offers you the only kind of love that they can give doesn't mean you have to accept it. You don't owe loyalty to a burning bridge just because you once crossed it. It didn't make sense when I was younger. Now, it clicked. Somewhere between screenshot 47 and the realization that none of us were chosen, just managed. We stopped asking what happened to us because we realized that he was the problem. You can't blame mold for growing in the environment it's supposed to grow in, so we changed the environment. Come back next week for the series finale. Some might say we did Mark dirty, but I prefer to call it justice. Have you ever felt like you owe loyalty to a bridge you once crossed? I think it's just human nature, but you let me know down in the comments. See you next Monday.